every morning at exactly 5 a.m. Robert Anderson watched his wife leave the house, like she was chasing something he could never understand. She would kiss him softly on the forehead, smile like nothing in the world was wrong, and say she was going to work in New York City. Then she would walk out into the quiet, dark streets of Houston, Texas. Robert was a millionaire, once powerful and full of life. But everything changed after a bad business deal that almost destroyed him. He became weak, sick, and dependent on the woman he loved most. Grace, his wife, she became the strength of the house, the one who paid bills, bought food, and kept everything running, while he lay in bed trying to recover. But something about Grace never sat right in his mind. She always came home late, always looked tired, and always hid her hands like she did not want him to see them. Sometimes he noticed small cuts and bruises on her skin, but whenever he asked, she would just smile and change the topic quickly. Robert wanted to believe her. He really did, because Grace had never given him a reason to doubt her love. But human heart is not blind. It feels when something is not right, and day by day, that feeling grew stronger inside him. One morning, after months of recovery, something changed. Robert received a call from his old friend Mike Johnson, a man he once helped when no one believed in him. Mike had become successful in New York City and now owned a growing tech company. He came to visit Robert personally. Mike did not come empty-handed. He came with help. He paid for the best doctors, the best treatment. And within weeks, Robert started getting better, stronger, and more aware of everything around him. It felt like life was giving him a second chance. For the first time in a long while, Robert could stand on his own again. And with that strength came a strange thought. He wanted to surprise Grace. He wanted to see the life she always talked about, the office, the work, the world she disappeared into every day. One morning, instead of staying home, Robert quietly followed her after she left the house. His heart was heavy, but his curiosity was stronger. He kept a safe distance as she walked through Houston's streets, passing buses, small shops, and busy roads. But something strange happened. Grace did not head toward any office building in New York City, as she always claimed. Instead, she kept walking toward the edge of the city, toward an area filled with noise, dust, and construction work. Robert slowed down, confusion building inside him. He watched as she stopped near a large construction site in Los Angeles outskirts. And for the first time in his life, he saw something that made his heart drop. Grace slowly removed her clean jacket, revealing a worn and dusty work uniform underneath. She tied her hair back, picked up a heavy helmet, and walked straight into the construction site, like someone who had done it for years. Robert stood frozen at a distance, unable to move, unable to speak, because the woman he thought he knew was about to reveal a truth that would change everything he believed about their life. Robert stood at the edge of the construction site, still frozen from what he had just seen. The dust in the air, the loud sound of machines, and workers moving heavy materials made everything feel unreal, but nothing was louder than the truth forming in his mind. Grace was not the woman he thought she was in that moment. She was carrying weight far beyond what he ever imagined. Her hands were rough, her body tired, and her face showed pain that no office chair could ever create. He took a slow step forward, his heart beating fast, and called her name softly, Grace. She stopped, as if she already knew he would come. She turned slowly, and their eyes met. There was no shock on her face, only calm silence, like she had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Robert's voice shook as he asked, "Why?" Grace looked down at the ground for a moment, then spoke quietly, "Because if I stopped, everything you rebuilt would fall apart with me." Those words hit Robert harder than anything he had ever experienced. Not even losing his fortune had felt like this, because now he understood pain in a different way, a deeper kind of pain that money could never fix. He stepped closer, wanting answers, wanting to understand everything. But Grace stepped back just slightly. Her eyes filled with something she was not ready to explain yet. Before Robert could ask again, she said something that made his heart sink even deeper, something that carried more weight than anything he had heard that day. And just as he opened his mouth to speak again, Grace turned away and walked back into the noise of the construction site, disappearing into the crowd of workers and machines. Robert stood there in silence, watching the woman he thought he knew, her hands covered in dust, her face tired in a way no office job could ever explain. The sound of machines around her faded as reality finally settled in. She was not living the life he believed, she had been surviving one he never imagined. He took a step forward, his voice shaking as he called her name. Grace slowly turned, her eyes meeting his, not with surprise, but with a quiet acceptance, as if she had been waiting for this moment longer than he had. "Why?" he asked, barely able to hold himself together. For a moment she said nothing. Then she looked away at the ground she had been working on for months and whispered, "Because if I stopped, everything you rebuilt would collapse with me." Robert felt his world break again, but this time it wasn't money that fell apart. It was understanding. As he reached for her, she stepped back slightly and said something he was not ready for, something that made the entire truth feel even deeper than what he had seen. And just as he was about to ask her what she meant, she turned and walked back into the noise of the site, leaving him standing there with a question that had no immediate answer. What Grace was protecting him from was not just poverty, but something far more dangerous that he had never seen coming.